Happy Halloween to those who celebrate. It is currently October 31st, so it is the perfect time for us to sit down and go over all of the books we read in October. We also wanted to go over all of the books we read in September since we never got a chance to do a September wrap-up. So today we're just going to be talking about a lot of books.
We'll start with the October books that we read. I think it was a pretty good reading month for me. First one I have is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. Y'all know I absolutely loved The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and this one, honestly, I was a little bit scared. I was thinking like there's no way I'm gonna love this one just as much as that one, but I ended up loving it just as much as that one. It's just such a perfect cozy fall read full of magic and romance and found family, and those are always the type of books that I want to read in the cozy fall time. I did tear up in the end, which I also love whenever a book could make me feel enough to like tear up. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really hope this author continues writing stories like this.
A book I decided to read that was not on my October TBR was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, because I know the movie adaptation is coming out pretty soon and I had never read this book and I wanted to give it a shot. As you guys know, I read another book by Frida McFadden and I like absolutely hated it, so I wanted to give her another shot. This one I do think was better than The Inmate, but it still like wasn't my favorite. We have a girl who decides to be a live-in maid for this wealthy family and she just starts to uncover a bunch of dark secrets. It was entertaining. I will say I think her books read really fast. I'm glad I read it so I can watch the movie. I don't really have the desire to read the other books in the series. I'm really interested to see how it's going to look on screen, but the sub-genre of like what this thriller is, I don't normally like. And I don't want to say what it is in case it's kind of a spoiler. It just wasn't my favorite.
So I ended up reading one of my most anticipated books, which is The Academy by Ellen Hilderbrand and her daughter Shelby Cunningham. I was so excited for this one because I have been saying over and over, this is like Ellen Hilderbrand's first not summer type of Nantucket book, and it's like the academy, it's gonna be fall and school and everything. I just didn't love it. There was so much going on. There were so many different characters. I kept feeling like, what is even the point of the story? I don't know. So we're thinking that I don't typically love general fiction books because I've started to notice that I don't really love some of her books. Like I absolutely loved The Hotel Nantucket. I loved The 5-Star Weekend, but this one, it just didn't hit the same for me. A lot of the characters also just weren't likable. So it was just one of those things where it was just like dragging on. I was like 3-speed audio it and let's move on from it.
3-speed?
I think actually like the end is where things really picked up and I was like, oh, okay, now what's gonna happen? No, now we're done. But yeah, it is gonna be a series. She is gonna continue on, but I just don't know if I'm gonna have interest when that second book comes out. So we'll see.
A book I knew I had to read this month was Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. It has Halloween in the title. I needed to read it in October. This was only my second Agatha Christie book and I did enjoy it. We have a 13-year-old girl at this Halloween party. She claims that she had witnessed a murder, but no one believes her. Later that night, when that girl is found dead herself, they hire a detective to come in and figure out what happened. I do like her style of writing. I can definitely see why she's such a famous mystery thriller author. I will say, going into this, I thought it was going to have more of that autumnal feel. I wanted more of like the atmospheric, cozy Halloween vibe, and I did like the descriptions of when they were setting up the party and like all of the activities they were going to do, but that was really the only Halloween-ish part in my opinion, and I just wanted more of that. The mystery itself I did feel like was a little slow paced, but I did enjoy seeing the detective go through each person and like try and connect the dots and figure out the mystery. I will say I liked And Then There Were None more, but I ended up giving this 3.5. It was a good read for October.
Another one I finally got around to is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I absolutely loved it. I think Lisa Jewell is going to be one of my new favorite mystery thriller authors. This is one of those where I was just hooked from the beginning to end. It never got boring. It never lost my attention. The audiobook was fantastic. I think it's because one of those things where it's like a podcast is involved. So every time they were having interviews, it just felt so real. When I finished it, I was still questioning what was real and what wasn't. I gave it 4 stars. It was very good. I could see why it was one of the Book of the Month, Book of the Year finalists.
Another book that was perfect for October was The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. This is like a YA spooky book. Jake is a medium and can see ghosts, but he ends up being haunted by this kid who committed a really awful crime. So Jake is just trying to figure out how to get rid of him. This was way more dark and sinister than I thought it was going to be, but the story really stuck out to me. I had a good time with this one. I gave it a 3.75. The only reason I didn't give it a 4 is because I wish it was a little bit longer.
I ended up reading Perfect Fit by Claire Gilmore because my audiobook on Libby was ready. I wouldn't normally read this right now just because I had so many books that I wanted to read in October that I didn't even get around to reading. And I honestly wish I had just skipped this one because I can't even tell you what happened. I think in the moment when I was reading it, I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. It's okay. It's cute. It has cute, funny moments, but it's like not one of those where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so invested in this. I gave it 3 stars. It's also not fair because I knew I wasn't in the mood to read this, but I was just like, oh, my order is ready, so I have to listen to it right now. And I think I need to just not do that. So I don't know. I do feel like I kind of gave this book an unfair chance because of that. But I mean, it was solid. I just don't think it will be very memorable for me.
So the next book I read was Gothicana by Runex, and this was actually a reread for me. The first time I read it was in 2022, and I just wanted to read it again for spooky season, especially since we got these really pretty editions this past year. This is a dark romance. It takes place at a really old school that's a castle on the top of a mountain, so the gothic vibes are definitely there. This is another one where I love all of the descriptions. It just creates this really eerie setting. I will say, I don't remember this being as smutty as it was. Like, I wasn't expecting that, but I guess since it is a dark romance, that's why there was so much of that. But the school itself and the mystery did remind me of the show Wednesday. I really liked this one. It wasn't my favorite Runex book, but I'm glad that I reread it. I gave it a 3.5 this time around.
So we both ended up reading The Wrong Daughter by Dandy Smith. In this one, there's 2 sisters. They're like age 10 and 13, and one day the 13-year-old gets kidnapped, and it's been 15 years, and the older sister returns. Crazy plot. I was very impressed. I thought it was really good. I couldn't put it down. I never got bored. It was just always one of those things where I'm like, what is freaking happening right now? I will say I did predict a lot of the twists that happened, but it didn't stop the story from being entertaining. I really enjoyed it. I'm really impressed by this. I gave it a 4 stars, but it's probably one of my favorite books I read this month.
I'm glad. I wasn't sure if you were gonna love like how it ended. I agree. I was captivated the entire time, and there were some things I could predict, but the way that it ended up going, I was not expecting. I gave it 4 stars too. I'm glad that we both liked it. And shout out Aardvark Book Club, because I don't think we would have picked this up otherwise. It came out a long time ago.
Very good. Now I'm interested in reading more from this author.
So the next book we both read this month was Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This was a chunker.
I know.
We were not expecting it to be this long. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was really good. I think the only thing was like there was a lot of smut that I wasn't expecting.
I don't know what it is about me. I don't care for smut anymore. Yeah. Like, I think in the beginning it was like exciting and like you wanted books that were like extra spicy. Now I'm like over it. I'm like, okay, let's get back to the plot. I don't care. I feel like we waste a lot of time on that. And there's only so many things you can use to describe the same things that are happening.
Yeah. I like it, just not the entire book.
Yeah, like if it's 1 or 2 scenes, fine. It shouldn't be every time they're together.
Yes, exactly.
This is a companion novel to Bride, which I just recently read. I read that in September. I will say I do think I liked this book a little bit more than Bride. I really liked the plot of this one. Our main character is a hybrid, half werewolf, half human, and she's really the only one of her kind. We're watching her try to navigate that. I also did like the romance. I felt like it was believable. It didn't feel too forced. It was definitely freaked out the whole time, but it was entertaining.
I think for me, I felt the opposite. I ended up liking Bride a little bit more just because I think it went a lot more into the world building of like the vampires and the werewolf side, and this one, it was like the focus was the smut instead of the world building. But it was still fun. I think it was cute. I do hope she continues on with this little series. I think I gave it 4 stars.
I gave it 4.
3.75.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. The last one we have for October is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. This is our Literal Besties Book Club book for this month. It is my first time reading a Rachel Harrison book. I'm still currently reading it. I think I'm only on like chapter 6 or something, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So we're following a girl who ends up having to go back to her childhood home, and her mom had always claimed that this home was haunted by a demon and all this other crazy stuff. So far, I really do like it. I like our main character. I like the sisters that she has. I like everyone around her. I haven't even got to like her getting to the house, but I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen there because right now she's just still thinking like my mom was crazy for thinking that house was haunted. So I'm ready to see like what type of spooky are we going to get into when she does get back to the house.
I have read some other Rachel Harrison books that I've loved. I'll say that even though I enjoyed this one, I don't know that I loved it as much as those other ones. I do love her writing style though, and all of the metaphors she uses throughout her books. I think the only reason I didn't connect to this one as much as her other books is because I've read other books with a similar plot, and the reason why I love her other books is because they're so unique and like I've never read anything like those, whereas I think that I've experienced other books like this that I've enjoyed a little bit more. But I did like this one overall, and I'm glad I was able to read her newest release with all of you guys. I gave it a 3.5, and I'm excited to see what Amanda thinks when she's done with it.
I was able to read a bunch of my Aardvark and Book of the Month books for October, and that was unintentional. I didn't even mean to do that, so that is great because y'all see every month we get so many books from them, so I'm so glad I got through a good chunk of them.
That's always like a goal of ours,
Yeah.
is to get through our Book of the Month and Aardvark books. That was it for all of our October reads. Now we're going to quickly go over all of the books that we read in September that we didn't get to go over with you guys. We don't want to spend too much time on them, but we did want to show you what we read.
I went a little crazy in September, so I think it's worth going through all of these really quickly.
I did not go crazy in September, but I did like go on my first overseas trip, so I'm using that as an excuse, even though that was only like 10 days out of the month.
10 days is a long time. I'm so glad I finally got around to reading The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This was one of those that was just kind of like a cozy, ghostly type of romance. It was very family oriented with a lot of sad moments. I was really entertained though. There was a lot of talk about ghostwriters, and so now I'm fully thinking about what big author out there could possibly have a ghostwriter. I gave it 4 stars though. I've loved everything that I've read by Ashley Poston so far.
Our book club book for September was Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and we loved this book. It was also fun to see a lot of people in the book club really enjoyed this as well. This was an older release of Riley Sager, but we were just getting around to reading it. In this one, our main character returns to the house that made her family famous. Her father wrote a book about their haunted experience there, and she wants to return and find out if her father was telling the truth. This one was really fun, and I love the fact that we got chapters of her father's book, so not only did we get to read the book that he wrote, but we also got to see like in present time what she was experiencing in present day.
This one was so good. Even the ending I really loved as well. It was just like effortlessly playing like a movie in my head. Another author where I have not read a bad book from him. I gave this one 4 stars. Although it was very good, I think the only one left remains my favorite book from him. I ended up reading Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes. This is a psychological sci-fi book, and I didn't realize that it was going to be a psychological book, and I think because it was like that, it made the pace a little bit slower. It was definitely unique and unlike any other sci-fi book that I've read so far. I did really enjoy the concept, and I'm interested in reading something else from this author. I gave it a 3.5.
A book I did not really love in September was Someone in the Attic by Andrea Mara, and I had such high expectations for this because it sounds spooky, and the idea of someone in your attic is absolutely terrifying to me. I specifically saved this book for the fall time because I thought it was going to be more of a horror suspense type of book, but it ended up being more like a mystery, which is okay. It just wasn't what I was expecting. What I didn't like about it was that the story itself was a little bit lackluster and predictable. That was super disappointing because with a plot idea like this, I wanted to be a little bit spooked. I thought I was going to be like glued to the page, but it ended up being just a little bit boring to me, which sucks. I gave this a 2 star, which is like one of the lowest ratings I've given a book this year. I don't know if it was just me though. If you did read this book, let me know your thoughts on it.
So I ended up reading The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. I gave it 4 stars, but the crazy thing is I kind of forgot what happened at the end, so I don't know. I guess in the time I really liked it, but I'm already losing memory of what happened. So how good was it really?
Yeah.
I remember there was a lot of family drama and twists, and it was definitely a lot more sad than I was expecting. I'm just really surprised that it hasn't been that long and it's already like fading away from my mind. But I gave it 4 stars at the time, so I would say it was a good read in the moment, but I think I would be interested in reading something else from this author.
Like I said when we were going over May, I did read Bride in September by Ellie Hazelwood. This one was super popular when it came out because it was her fantasy debut. There was vampires, there was werewolves. It was very light and easygoing. It was smutty. There was a bit of a mystery. I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I think I like Ellie Hazelwood's normal books more. It wasn't my favorite of the month, but it was an easy, fun read. I gave it a 3.25. So I liked May a lot more.
This was another one of those where my audiobook was ready, so I went ahead and read it. It's Well Actually by Maisie Eddings. This one's a pretty new release. There was a lot of funny moments. I did like our characters together. I just remember I kept getting a little annoyed because our main character kept like sabotaging things for herself, and she kept feeling like, do I want to be with him? Do I not want to be with him? And I'm like, girl, let's get it together, please. I gave it a 3.5 stars. It was okay. It was solid. I do think it'll be one of those things where I forget about it by the end of the year though.
A book that took me a very long time to read in September was Alchemized by Sin-Lin Yu. This was my most anticipated release of the entire year, and it definitely did not disappoint. This is the published version of a Dramini fanfic. A lot of you are familiar with Manacled. If you are not, this is the published version and you can read it now. Story-wise, I found a 1-sentence summary that I think kind of captures the entire thing. We're basically following a alchemist who has experienced memory loss, and she gets sent to this very powerful necromancer to try and uncover what kind of secrets she has hidden or compressed in her mind, and they're just trying to figure out if she is holding any secrets to prove that the resistance is still alive and trying to fight. It is such a good story. I will say in the beginning it was a little bit tough, and I think any fantasy book that you start, the beginning is a little bit rough because you're thrown into like a new world and they have to not only world build but explain to you like everything happening before we get into the plot. So the beginning was a little bit rough, but if you keep reading, I thought it was fantastic. I do think it's just a more polished version of Manacled. The fact that she had to entirely rewrite this entire world because it couldn't take place in the Harry Potter world, I think is just incredible. It's everything that I thought it would be. I'm really glad I read it, and now I'm bookbinding Manacled so I could have it sitting next to Alchemized. I gave this 4 stars, and I highly recommend it whether or not you read Manacled.
These next ones I have are all just 3-star reads. One that I'm very sad about is A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. Y'all know we love Adrienne Young so much, but I have finally come across one that just wasn't my favorite. It's definitely a short and easy read, but it just felt like the story dragged on so much for me. I couldn't find myself caring about the mystery or the romance. It just fell really flat for me, so 3 stars for this one. Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman. My audiobook was ready for this one. I don't know why I was fully anticipating like a fish or a shark being in the water, but no, that wasn't the case at all. It was definitely more like a general fiction type of book. So that's my fault for going into it thinking that there was gonna be like some 47 meters down thing happening when that wasn't the case at all. So 3 stars for this one. I finally got around to reading The Witches of Moonshine Manor by Bianca Moraes. I always see this one every October around spooky season. I of course liked the witchy vibe, and there was like a strong sense of sisterhood that I really loved. That said, I do think there was just way too much going on to the point where I just like couldn't keep up with what was happening. It just felt all over the place for me at times, so it was hard for me to fully connect. But I am glad that I got around to it, and now I know what everyone's talking about when they constantly recommend this in October. And the last one I have is What Hunger by Catherine Dang. This one is supposed to be like a YA, cannibalism, kind of crazy type of book, and I honestly was expecting a lot more from it. I feel like not enough was happening. I did finish it in a day. It was an easy read. I was just expecting a little bit more, so 3 stars for this one as well. Overall though, I'm glad I got through so many books in September. A lot of these were ones that I had been wanting to read for a really long time.
So those are all the books we read in both September and October. I'm glad we were able to go over September books since we didn't get to. I think October though, I had a lot more books that I enjoyed more. But yeah, like you said, I had so many hopefuls for October as well, and I just did not get around to all the ones I wanted to read. So I'm sure a couple of those will like trickle into November. But overall, I feel like it's been a good couple of reading months. Let us know in the comments some of your favorite reads of September and October. I cannot believe October is done and finished. The fact we're in November and it's basically Christmas is absolutely insane. We're gonna be posting our November TBR up next, and we have to figure out what Literal Besties Book Club book we're gonna read for November. So if you have not already joined, we will leave that link in the description. We will figure it out and vote over there on the Fable app. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. I know it was a long one, but thank you so much for watching until the end. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys next time.